Why does YouTube do this?
Their CP videos are more entertaining than the slop.
The straight up distributing illegal material.
The existence of adult content is nothing new. Everybody's obviously stumbled across it at some point, but that isn't what this video is about. Because it's the spread of adult content in front of children that is truly disturbing. YouTube, as we all know, is one of the biggest social media platforms, coming only second after Facebook, which has over 3 billion active users while YouTube has only 2 billion. This is the platform that me and you most likely grew up around and watched some of our favorite videos on. Videos from creators like DanTDM, Stampy Longnose, and many more. And at the time, content catered towards children would never include such extreme scenes of nudity, suggestive thumbnails, and stuff that would generally twist the minds of children. But as we enter a new generation of media, the age barrier in which people are introduced to this kind of filth decreases. And with this rise of adult content comes the spread of a digital plague. This is Slimecat, a channel that makes animations based off of characters from Sprunky, a mod for a music game called Incredibox, where within the game you could drag accessories on characters who in response would then come together to create a small music piece. On the surface level, this game seems pretty harmless and honestly pretty cool to mess around with. However, it's this specific channel who remains anonymous and takes characters out of the game to then portray them in extremely sexual poses. When you scroll through their channel, every single one of their videos have suggestive thumbnails which are paired with these strange titles. And when you click on these videos, it gets even more disgusting. In this slightly censored version of one of their biggest videos with over 1.4 million views, we see 2 characters being trapped in a grave and then making out. Not exactly family friendly, however, scrolling down to the comments clearly reveals to us just what type of audience is watching this. And this isn't even everything, because when we go to their more recent videos, we find out that this channel doesn't only post sexual content, but also content revolving around murder and gore, depicting scenes that just shouldn't be viewed by their very young audience. And these videos aren't just limited to this one innocent music game. There exist hundreds of channels that profit off of popular games such as Minecraft or Poppy Playtime, using their characters to make extremely explicit content that generates them huge sums of money. It all falls under this category known as Elsagate, which is content that clickbaits their very young audience into viewing extremely sexual animations and parodies of popular video game characters, which isn't limited to just YouTube, but also YouTube Kids as well. In fact, a new trend that some of these kids channels are doing is collabing with OnlyFans creators to create explicit gaming videos where the goal is generally to sexually hook the viewers. For example,
so this is the first video I've ever done on this style. Is your video made for kids? I click no, it's not made for kids.
while there exists some slight solutions to kids' content such as parental controls, most parents either just don't understand how it works or are too lazy to find out, and instead just use YouTube as an easy way to keep their kids entertained, believing that it's a safe platform for their children to watch content on and get educated, when in reality, this is nothing further from the truth, leaving millions of young children to be exposed to this disgusting content and leading them down the deepest rabbit holes.
The dim light of flashlights revealed a horrifying scene. kids' content that depicts sexual and intimate scenes isn't the limit of the rabbit hole here. This content twists the minds of children in their future as well as their present. But this whole problem spreads even further than this. For those who don't know, if you own a business and want to advertise on YouTube, you can pay a specific amount of money to run an ad campaign on the homepage, shorts feed, or YouTube long-form videos depending on your needs. YouTube then uses Google's data to present your advertisement to a relevant audience at the right time. Now, the question here is, at what point would a user need to be recommended ads for a video chatting app? Or an explicit AI companion? Or maybe even an X-ray app that lets you see through clothes, supposedly? And remember, there are minors on this website that constantly scroll through shorts, watch videos, or browse the homepage. The images I just showed you isn't even the worst of it. There's literal videos too. How is this possible? When I was looking for an answer to my question, I came across this article on the Google Help forum. Based off of the replies from this user, there's two possibilities for this phenomenon. Either the user's device is infected by malware, or the ads are all based off of the Google Play Store. And in my opinion, the second answer makes more sense, as most of these ads are based off of apps from the Play Store. But this makes me wonder, why would the guidelines on ads for the Play Store be different? Isn't the Play Store just like YouTube a product of Google, or are the guidelines different? Well, if that isn't interesting. As I kept on researching, I found an article by Google on their ad policies. And within those policies, as we just saw, it states that certain types of sexual content isn't allowed, but some kind of sexual content is allowed. Now, to me, this makes no sense. What limit is there for content to cross the line between non-sexual and sexual? This may somewhat explain, though, the reason as to why these ads even make it onto YouTube in the first place. They circumvent showing certain things in their videos by adding logos on body parts and muting the whole video to then add music over it. And the most annoying part about this is that these ads never appear to be targeted to a specific audience, but are rather thrown in front of whoever happens to be unlucky. Now, you might think that ads like these can easily be blocked by the user, which by all means is a decent solution. But what happens when explicit content finds a new way to spread? The post reads the following. I was recently watching a video from a big channel, which I'm not going to tell its name for obvious reasons, and I decided to check the comments section, but the first thing I saw was some bots promoting their channel, and under them was groups of channels telling people to check their CP content. It was not the first time that I've seen these types of channels, but curiosity got me this time and I checked their channel. In their about section, there was 2 links connected to Discord. I assumed it would redirect me to a troll or prank server and I clicked on it. Oh boy, was I wrong. It was actually CP. I immediately deleted that video and reported the channel, but it's not the first time that I've seen these types of bots and they're getting out of control. YouTube needs to do something as soon as possible. The whole situation garners so much attention to the point that big YouTubers decide to make videos on it.
Today we're talking about a breed of comment sections or comments that are actually distributing illegal CSAM material all throughout the internet, okay?
This has been a problem on YouTube and really any social media platform for years.
So you start to see accounts like Officer. So obviously these people, basically tell the comment section, hey, my illegal material videos are more entertaining than this slop.
You'll find this exact comment plastered on pretty much any video on the platform that has over 1,000 comments.
YouTube has basically, almost in a way, I would say, given up.
The whole thing that disturbs me is the fact that, like I said, there's minors on this website, as well as people who generally don't want to be around this stuff. And being exposed to adult content is one thing, but being someone to witness the distribution of CP on a platform that is not even on the deep web is just a whole nother topic that terrifies me. There have been possible answers on Reddit and other platforms for whom it may be, some claiming that it's a YouTube trolling group that bullies and trolls people online to the most extreme lengths possible. And just to be extra safe that they won't somehow find my video, this obviously is not their name and their logo. I wish I could just end this video here, as CP is just a topic that doesn't leave a good taste in my mouth. Just the thought of those who are victims of such content and people who stumble across it by accident is terrifying. But the rabbit hole, against either my wish or yours, goes even further. Let's step outside of YouTube for a bit. Like many of us already know, adult content doesn't just occur on YouTube. Obviously, you've got websites that are specifically made for the distribution of adult content, but right now, we are not focusing on those specific websites. The dark web, unlike the surface web, is a hidden part of the internet which regular search engines like Google or Firefox don't index or allow access to. This basically means that you need a special browser that does allow for access to the dark web. Browsers like Tor allow you to do that. The thing about this part of the web is that it's easy for users to stay anonymous and commit the most illegal acts without having much fear of being caught if they did everything right. With that being said though, illegal content cannot necessarily be stumbled upon easily on the dark web, but tends to be much more extreme and threatening when you do stumble across it. And with the idea of anonymity and the freedom to do whatever you want, only chaos can erupt. There used to be a website on the dark web that had nearly 63,000 users worldwide that were paying for a subscription to receive CP and CSAM. Two administrators were responsible for keeping the site updated with new disgusting content by the name of Salingam and Takputsa. So what initially happened was that the Interpol discovered material from the website depicting the abuse of 11 boys that were under 13 years old. They then started what was called Operation Blacklist and knew that this site must have had hundreds of minors behind it that were being abused. The clock was ticking and they had to get the site down as soon as possible. The police couldn't directly identify the children because they were masked in the videos, so what they did instead was look at their body features and traits to keep track of how long their abuse was going on for. As more countries joined in on this international investigation, they were getting closer and closer to finding out who the admins were. When the US Homeland Security Investigations Department finally traced the IP address, Bulgaria's cybersecurity department took down the website, and New Zealand's Internal Affairs Department compiled the website's information to then hand the user information over to Interpol so that they could then find the people in their own countries who were active on this site. And as they were taking down the website and handing over important information to Interpol, the victims of which videos were posted online were finally identified, leading to the arrest of Takputsa and Salingam. In a disturbing revelation, it turned out that Salingam, who was based in Thailand, was the man who was seen abusing the 11 boys in the files that Interpol had found. One of those boys was his nephew. He had been lured in by his uncle as well as 10 other boys with the promise that they could have access to the internet, watch videos, play football, and eat food. And as for Takputsa, who was based in Australia, they seized his devices and found out that he had also been to Thailand to abuse minors as well as Australia. And when they looked through the images on his devices, they found out that one of his victims was just 15 months old. Salingham was sentenced to 146 years in prison, and Tagpusa was sentenced to 40 years, where he pleaded guilty to over 51 charges revolving around the abuse of 11 babies and boys. Was Tagpusa's sentence too light? I mean, he abused literal babies, and while his partner got a sentence that would exceed his life on Earth, he only had 40 years. What says that there is no possibility that Tagpusa would continue his deranged acts if he would ever get out of prison? And you have to remember that this is just one of the most disgusting corners of the dark web. The soliciting of illegal material has literally become a business. There are creeps that are probably making a lot more money than most people selling content that leaves everybody traumatized. This disgusting content itself spreads even more, not just on the dark web, but also, as you previously saw, on platforms like YouTube and Discord, which are platforms that exist on the surface web and aren't even a part of the dark web. And if proper guidelines and detection methods aren't introduced to these platforms in the future, we seriously won't know what will happen. And this is the absolutely terrifying rabbit hole behind adult content. Content that permeates from platforms like YouTube leads to content that is found all the way at the bottom of the dark web. In my opinion, the most disturbing part about this entire story is that CP is available on platforms like YouTube and such. While not directly available as videos, but rather comments, even the possibility of this type of content being spread by degenerates still disturbs me. All because they think that this type of content is funny to comment on their videos. And also adult content as a whole being on YouTube, masked as quote-unquote kids content, is equally terrifying because these types of videos influence kids and their actions at such a young age. If we only lived in a world where everything could be okay. I really hope that after this disgusting topic that we just discovered, I could put this video behind, but no. When I went onto Reddit and wanted to check up on the situation a bit that was covering, I found multiple posts in which people are reporting the same problem that I had covered in a previous chapter. Explicit ads are still making their way onto YouTube's Shorts ads feed, and nothing is being done about it. In fact, the friend that collaborated on this video with me, Caleb, actually made a video pointing out similar explicit content problems within the Minecraft space, and to my surprise and to a surprise as well, YouTube had actually responded to his video saying that they were quote-unquote working on this problem. But when he checked on Twitter for similar responses by YouTube, he found out that this comment that they left on his video was just copied and pasted from the replies that YouTube leaves under tweets from other people. To me, it really seems like YouTube or Google doesn't care about this problem, because you have to remember, they're still getting money from the ad payments that are being put down by these people. Unfortunately, not every story has a happy ending. Hey there, thanks for watching until the end of the video. This video took me so long to make, like, it's been almost 2 months. I don't usually leave these ending commentary things, but I thought it could be a bit important, because, well, not important, but, you know, maybe exciting to some. I've opened up a sort of like a Patreon, but like, you know, a more branded Patreon. It's called iamby.serve, and basically over there I'm currently working on extra patron documentaries. That's sort of the main goal, but truly I'm just focusing on making extra content and then advertising those on this channel. So yeah, it's $5 a month. You get some behind the scenes content. Actually, there's going to be a behind the scenes video for this video breaking down some of the things I did for this video. And then there's going to be this video again, but like ad free on the Patreon thing, because there was like a Patreon ad and stuff. And you know, if it's just a cool pure cinematic experience. But yeah, there's not a lot of content on there right now. I'm currently working on it to get more content for you guys. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, you know, make sure to do the usual YouTube stuff, comment, like, whatever, subscribe. And you know, let me know in the comments what you thought about this video, because I think it was pretty disturbing at times, but overall I'm happy that I made it, because it's always good to spread it, like, you know, to how to say, like, put a spotlight on these types of problems, because this is a problem on YouTube, you know, and it should be avoided, because there's a lot of kids on YouTube here that don't use YouTube Kids, even though they're supposed to use YouTube Kids. But even YouTube Kids at sometimes, you know, had flaws and stuff. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you for your patience. I love you guys, and have a good rest of your day.